Okay, so what if you could take all the scattered bits of data in your company, from sales, marketing, operations, everywhere, and instead of it being some dusty old library, you could turn it into a living, thinking corporate brain? That's the huge idea behind the Neuruh Nexus, and we're about to break down what that really means.
But let me start with a question for you. What if your most valuable customer, the person you think you know everything about, is actually three different high-value people, all rolled into one, and you just can't see it yet? This is the huge problem we're going to tackle.
And trust me, this isn't just some abstract idea. For so many companies, this is a literal billion-dollar blind spot. It's the massive cost of not being able to see the whole picture. So, let's paint a picture. In one of your databases, your sales team has a fantastic lead, a top executive at a huge defense contractor. Naturally, they're a massive priority for your defense sales team. Makes perfect sense, right? A clear, valuable target? Meanwhile, in a totally separate system, maybe your real estate intelligence platform, there's another person of interest. This individual owns a $5 million portfolio of commercial properties, an absolute A-list target for your real estate team. And then, buried deep in a third database, maybe the one your investor relations team uses, there's a name flagged as being directly connected to a top-tier VC partner, someone you've been trying to get a meeting with for ages. And here is where it all clicks into place. On the left, you've got the siloed view. That's three separate leads, being chased by three different teams, who probably don't even talk to each other. But on the right, that's the unified view, the truth. It's not three people, it's one person. A compound opportunity, whose real value is so much greater than just adding up the parts. So, how in the world do you bridge that gap? How do you go from a siloed view to the unified one? Well, that's the point where you stop building databases and you start building a corporate brain. Let's dig into how a system like the Neuruh Nexus actually does it. The Neuruh Nexus is designed to be just that, a central intelligence engine. It's better to think of it less like a piece of software and more like a biological system. Its whole reason for being is to pull together all those separate streams of information and find the hidden connections, to spot that compound opportunity that everybody else is missing. And this is where the analogies gets brilliant. The whole system is broken down like a brain. You've got the signal ingest bus. That's the nervous system, feeling every new piece of data coming in. The knowledge graph. That's the long-term memory, holding every relationship it's ever learned. The pattern detection engine is like the subconscious, always scanning in the background for things that look familiar. And the opportunity synthesizer? That's the conscious mind, where an actual strategic idea is formed. And to top it all off, the meta-feedback loop is the learning process, the thing that makes the entire brain smarter every single day.
So, okay, we've got the parts, but how do they all work together? How does this brain actually go about thinking and connecting the dots?
It runs in this constant four-step loop. First, it senses, just pulling in signals from everywhere. Then, it remembers, linking that new piece of information to its huge memory bank, the knowledge graph. Third, it connects, asking that memory if it sees any high-value patterns, like, hey, do we know any defense execs who also happen to own commercial real estate? And finally, if it gets a hit, it synthesizes. It wakes up an AI agent to turn that pattern into a real, actionable strategy. And this right here is the absolute heart of the brain's memory. The knowledge graph doesn't just store facts, it stores relationships. It knows that this person works for that company. It knows that same person also owns a property. And it knows that this very same person is connected to a VC partner. Each one of these links enriches the profile, building that complete 360-degree picture. So the brain found a connection. It had a thought. That's amazing. But so what? How does a clever idea inside a system actually turn into a real deal for the company? Now, this is the really critical part. The system doesn't just find the lead and dump it on someone's desk. It uses this incredibly smart routing matrix to make a strategic decision. Just look at the logic here. If it sees the defense exec who's also a property owner, it sends the lead to the real estate team. Why? Because talking about personal wealth is a faster way to build trust. But if that same exec has a warm intro to an investor, it goes straight to investor relations, because a warm intro is always your best shot. It's all about playing the odds intelligently. And check this out. This is the conscious thought generated by the brain's AI. It doesn't just route the lead, it hands the team a full-blown strategy, a playbook, a crystal clear, actionable plan, Start the conversation by talking about real estate tax shields to build a personal connection. Then, once you've established that trust, you pivot the conversation to their day job in defense contracting. I mean, that is just brilliant. It's so nuanced. It's a strategy that no single department could have possibly come up with on its own.
But this isn't just about closing one really clever deal. It's about creating a system that gets better and better over time. It's an engine, a flywheel, that builds an unbeatable competitive advantage. And the numbers really tell the story here. Before, the lifetime value of a customer was about 5 times what it cost to get them. That's a pretty solid business. But with the Nexus system finding these compound opportunities, that ratio skyrockets to over 21 times. That's not just an improvement, that's a fundamental shift in how efficient the business is.
And what's driving that incredible jump? It's this number. The goal is for these special compound leads to convert at a rate 2.5 times higher than a regular single-focus lead. That's the real measure of just how much smarter your outreach becomes. But here, this is the real magic. Remember that meta-feedback loop we talked about? The brain doesn't just sit there, it learns. When a deal is successful, the system figures out why it worked, and then it shares that winning pattern with everyone else. It might learn that, say, defense execs who read 3 articles about AI are 40% more likely to own property. Boom. That insight automatically makes your marketing and sales scoring smarter across the board. And this, right here, is the ultimate competitive moat. Any of your competitors can go out and buy the same raw data. They can get lists of defense contractors or property owners, sure. But what they can never replicate is the web of proprietary connections, the unique knowledge graph that your system builds day after day, year after year. It's a flywheel of intelligence that just gets stronger and more valuable with every single interaction.
Which really brings us to the final thought. This idea is so much bigger than just corporate data. It's a whole new way of thinking. So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. What invisible connections between people or ideas or opportunities are sitting right there in front of you, just waiting for a brain to finally connect them? And what could they transform in your world?